And I went to New Zealand. I got my degree, and I got a lot of impacts of the Mali political movements. That's why I start the research on indigenous people, and that's why I start to think about the indigenous issues of Taiwan. So, okay, that's my background. That's that I need to report to you that I'm qualified for talking about this issue. Well, is the lights too bright? Do we need? Oh, you do need the lights. For
it's better for the
okay, well, well, can you read the? Can you read? Okay, okay. Now, this class we have 3 hours, so I'm going to take the first 1 hour, and I'm Ho Jia Chue, and I'm a Han people. Han, do you know Han? Yeah, Han is the majority ethnic group in Taiwan, and the majority, which means dominant group in Taiwan also. And later, then we will have indigenous voice, which is real indigenous. We have a guest lecture from called Awi Mona. Awi Mona is my friend, and his ethnic group it's called Sajek, or you would say Sajek. Have you heard of Cap number 7, the movie last year, which was very popular? Cap number 7, and yes, 海角七号，是海角七号。Then 海角七号导演的 director 魏德胜 is going to shoot. Is preparing for a movie called 赛德克巴莱 赛德克 which is Sajek Ballet, and here's a story about Mona Rudo is a hero for Sajek, for the Sajek. Mona Rudo is actually Awi Mona. So actually Awi, for the naming system, Awi inherited his ancestor's name called Mona. So he's actually offspring of Mona Rudo. So today we're very privileged. Every semester I will ask Awi Mona to come over and give us a real voice from the indigenous people and from indigenous perspective. So Awi is coming, and Awi is a lawyer, and he's also a law professor. So he's going to talk about the some serious issues about the indigenous peoples in Taiwan. So he's going to take about take the second part, but I'm going to talk about the first part. The first part, actually, I'm going to give you some impressions, some basic impressions, some basic informations about the indigenous people. So I guess not many of you really know the details or know have a kind of overall background knowledge of the Taiwanese indigenous people. Not really. So, okay, let me ask one question. How many tribes officially recognized in Taiwan by the governments?
13.
13? Wrong, sorry, false. 14, yeah, 14, yeah. You know which one? The last one is Sajek. It was just recognized, Sajek. So even though we know Mona Rudo, but in old days, Mona Rudo is not Sajek. Mona Rudo was classified as Adaya. Yeah, Adaya. And who did that? The Japanese scholars. Japanese scholars did a really thorough research when they were in Taiwan, because basically that's for resources management. They got to have a lot of surveys about the indigenous people and the natural resources in Taiwan mountains. And then at that time, they just classify people. Oh, I think you belongs to that tribe. I think you belongs to that tribe. So in old days, that's why we got 9 tribes. But now, this year, we have 14 tribes. That 14 tribes means officially recognized. So we can see, there's more and more tribes coming. There will be more and more tribes coming, being recognized by the governments. Yeah, and for the 14 tribes, there's only one tribes. In old days we will call it from the plain land, 平埔族 plain. which means they don't live in the mountain areas. So these 14 tribes, there's only one. Among these 14 tribes, there's only one tribe. In old days, they live in the plain area. So for those indigenous people who live in the plain area, they kind of got missing in the history of indigenous Taiwanese documents. They got missing. So we can expect that there will be more and more Taiwanese indigenous tribes, including people who, in old days who live in the plain areas. There will be more and more. Even in Taipei, do you know the ethnic group in Taipei? In old days, what is it called? No, but good guess. 凯达格兰. You know the the street name just before, in front of the 总统府前面那条路，总统府 it called 凯达格兰. Yeah, and we don't know who at this time, we don't know who used to be 凯达格兰. 凯达格兰's offsprings. We have no idea. That's funny, right? Yeah, so I think I need to come here. Yeah? Okay. So this is just a very brief. I have introduced to you. There's two parts of today's talk, and overview. I'll give you an overview, and Awi is going to give some idea of savage in the colonial legal thoughts and discourse. The colonial he is mentioning, he will tell you the colonial doesn't mean the Japanese colonized period. That in other words, we're talking about the Han people is using the colonizing ideas. Yeah, still holds the colonial thoughts, legal thoughts in the society. So I was going to critique about the legal sides of indigenous issues. So now I think I better give you the idea. What's 原住民? You not only know the English, how the English is put, but also the Taiwanese,原住民, the Chinese characters. But there's something that I need to kind of clarify. In Taiwan, we do not only use indigenous people. I knew in New Zealand we call it indigenous. In Australia, we call the indigenous, we call aborigines. Yeah. In the States, you may call it the indigenous people from the First Nations peoples. But in Taiwan, we use indigenous, aborigines. Even we use native Taiwanese. I think it's a better name. Yeah, it's more proper. Native Taiwanese, native. So if in Taiwan, you can see these titles, also these names using, we don't strict to only one name. And personally, I prefer native Taiwanese. And even we in the Han, in the Han character, 原住民 literally means the original resident in this land, of this land. Yeah, 原住民. Yeah, 原 means means primary or the original resident who lives in this land or of this land. But this is how Han characters put it. But in our society or economic, in terms of economic status or political status or cultural status, 原住民, the primary or the indigenous or the primary or the most significant, the original, the elements has been missing in this society. In this society, we can see all the elements in at the NTU campus or in the Taipei city. You hardly really see indigenous elements. They probably only come as a rhetorical terms. Yeah. So anyway, let's go to the next. Yeah, Taiwan. This is actually a photo. Screen. I print a screen from the Council of Indigenous Affairs of Taiwan. So all I think I better just use the terms or the language that have been put in that documents. Which I mean, this is the who write this, the indigenous people. They describe how they want to be known for themselves. So it said Taiwan is a very beautiful island, well, Formosa, okay, located in the Asian Pacific region and have many ethnic groups. There are nearly 500,000. 500,000. So not many indigenous populations here. So nearly 500 indigenous people in Taiwan. It consists of only about 2% of the total population in Taiwan. Only 2%. Only 2%. But if you look at the budget, government budget distribution, they get less than 100%. Less than 100%. But the population is actually about 2%. But the total budgets are, spent all on the indigenous issues, less than 100% of something about this society. And currently there are 14 tribes that have been recognized by the governments. And these are the tribal names: Ataya, Paiwan, Bunong, Buyuma, Rukai, Zhou, and Saixia, Yamei, Thao. This is Gavalan, Gemalan. Have you heard of that? Gemalan, yeah. And Telugu. Have you been to the Telugu National Park? Telugu National Park. Yeah, the ethnic group who lives there is called Telugu, and Sakilaya, and the last one is Sajek. Okay, so you may ask why in the small islands they got so many ethnic groups. So many. This is very small islands. Are they related? Are they related? Are they really related? Yeah, according to the linguistic scholars, yeah, they say these 14 tribes, or at least in old days, the 9 tribes, they are actually separated in terms of linguistic differences. So that's why they have an assumption. The Australasia or the Chinese, the population may originate from these small islands because of the very unique and the difference, multiplicity among the indigenous peoples. They are very different. Yeah. So this is what linguist scholars argues, and this is the location. So there are many on the eastern sides of Taiwan, and actually on these sides, because this is Pingyuan, plain areas, Yilan. So actually in old days, there should be indigenous peoples. They just got missing now. They don't know they are now indigenous peoples. So they should be indigenous peoples there. So for example, there's one called Xilaya. Have you heard of Xilaya? Xilaya is in Kaohsiung, Jiayi. Xilaya is one of the plain ethnic tribes. I have Xilaya friends. To me, they look still, like indigenous. They doesn't look like Han people. They got very bright and shining eyes and look beautiful. Yeah, it's doesn't look really like Han people at all. So Xilaya, but Xilaya is not recognized at the moment. Hasn't been recognized. They are still fighting for the recognition from the governments. Xilaya. So later, hopefully in 10 years, you can see the more colorful sides from here. Yeah, and that means in that days, I would think Taiwan moved to the next stage of democracy. Yeah. So and then there's one museum. I think everybody should pay a visit to that museum. That museum is called National Museum of Prehistory. 史前博物馆, and in Taitung, at the very bottom side, bottom of Taiwan. And why is that museum important? Because in that museum you will see a site here. We call it Beinan sites. In that Beinan sites, this is the Beinan sites, and they have proven by a very scientific methods. And that Beinan sites that have been approximately has been lived there and have very organized family sites. You can see the family locations and the family arrangements, and also the community arrangements from the sites, from the sites. And that was about 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago. So, do you know when time people came to Taiwan? How many years ago? Roughly.
200 years ago?
Yes, indeed. About 200 years ago. Wow, we got a historian here. Yeah. My ancestors came to Taiwan, and we have genealogy. We still keep the genealogy records of the people of our ancestors came to Taiwan, and I'm the 17th. I'm the 17th. 17, I'm the 17th generation from Taiwan, and we have no records about our family history before they came to Taiwan. Why? I keep asking this question about to my grandfather and everybody whenever I can meet. Or I say, why we lost all the history about times that my ancestors came to Taiwan. And they say, because at that time they must be pirate, 海盗. Yeah. Yes, indeed. A lot of our ancestors, they came here. And I know from our genealogy book, genealogy records, there's only 3 brothers who came to Taiwan. My ancestors, they were 3 brothers. So the next question I ask is that, then how can they bring such a big population now? About 70. That's equivalent to Zhou's tribe. Zhou tribe. Zhou tribe is about 700 people. So I've always keeping asking, why these 3 brothers they can have? They get their wives. So then my ancestor, my grandfather said, I will look up for you, and they check it out, and they found my ancestor, my grandparents, grandmother, great-great-grandmother, they must be indigenous. Yeah. But unfortunately, there's no records in our genealogy. There's no records at all. So at that time, I found that Han people was kind of snobbish. Snobbish, I would say, probably. Yeah. So now I don't know which tribe I belongs to. If from my grandmother's side, yeah. Well, if we can recognize, we will have evidence that the Beinan sites, can prove that in this land about 5,000 years ago, local indigenous people has been there, lived there. We have no reasons to claim that this land belongs to Han people. This land actually belongs to indigenous, but just because the population is too small, so the Han people becomes a dominant group in this society, and we need to think about that. Yeah. So this museum is good place to see. They got a lot of they got a lot of materials that came out from the underground. So it's a beautiful place to visit, although it's pretty far away. But Taiwan is not far, so you can take express trains to get there, and then it's worth of visiting. And so this is a pond size. I would rather just keep letting you know how significant this site is. Okay, now this slide, well, I'm going to show you the changes of status, or you can say the changing status. I really hope that the status keep changing of the indigenous people in Taiwan. Just using the name, how they using the sign, that how they've been called. In early days, not really early, it's just about 100 years ago, people was called fan. So fan literally means barbarian. So barbarian, fan. So when I was little kids, and I get very noisy and very naughty, and then my mom said, "Don't be so fun. Don't be good. Don't be a fun." So in our conversational language, the sign of fun of indigenous people is it's actually very negative. And in the Japanese colonization time, fun they use fun, and because that is Japanese kanji, so they have put a little bit on top of that fun, which is different, a little bit different from Chinese characters. But that's it. That this fun actually in the documents they actually means the management of barbarian affairs. So they actually focus on how to manage these barbarian people. How to manage these barbarian people, and then after KMT party came to Taiwan, and they don't use fun, they use mountain tribes, Shanbao, mountain tribes. That means live in the mountain areas. And then in the 1994, it's about only 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Okay, well. And then indigenous people fight for official, non-biased, non-prejudiced name. So they claim they need to be called indigenous people. And they use indigenous peoples later. Because in the United Nations, the people probably suggesting only one tribes. And indigenous peoples, if you use peoples, that means you recognize the multiplicity and the diversity of all the differences among the indigenous peoples. Okay. So and then some significant move is that in the year of 2000, the indigenous people changed to indigenous peoples, and then another one important documents called partnership between the governments and the indigenous people. 伙伴关系has been claimed at the year of 2000, but 伙伴关系 becomes kind of rhetorical, because this is just a claim, 伙伴关系 and later it calls new partnership. And in this slide, it just shows how the time series of the new partnership been signed. And the time in 1999, Chen Shui-bian, at that time he's a DPP party, and he agreed to sign a partnership. Say, if I win the elections at the year of 2000, I will formalize the partnership treaty, kind of a treaty agreements. And then we all tease about this situation. That at that time he didn't really think he would win, so he just signed because he doesn't really think he will win. And on the other side, the KMT, at that time he didn't want to sign it at all, because at that time he thought he will win. So that's why become a kind of rhetorical, because at that time he signed, and at the year of year 2000 becomes a real legal documents, but he still feel reluctant to really implement the partnership policies. The partnership, so becomes it's a kind of a space that fighting. Space that Han people and the indigenous people fighting for the true meaning of partnership in this land. the true meaning of partnership. So you got to know the partnership, these documents, and then later you can use that documents to testify, to examine what happened, what really happened in every fields in Taiwanese society. Yeah, and this is why I show you partnership as only 7 items, and that's if you look at the items, you say you got to acknowledge Taiwanese indigenous sovereignty. That's that. And they have been lived here for 5,000 years, but they've never been really recognized or acknowledged. And the promotion of indigenous self-determination, and signed the Taiwanese Indigenous Land Treaty, which so far nobody really want to talk about that issue, land issue, which is a very big one. Okay, and then so this is 7. As far as I know, only this one, the number 6, restoration of natural resources management for tribal development. This one is kind of solid development, and which is called co-management, 共管, co-management. So the cooperative management. That cooperative management means from the Han party and from the local indigenous party, they co-manage their tribal lands. So the item 6 probably is most significant. Probably the only one item which has means something during the last 10 years developments. Okay, and here I'm showing you some indigenous movements in Taiwan. They've been climbing. We have been climbing a lot of rights, and that includes land claim movements and also justice journey, abolishing Wufeng myth. Wufeng, have you heard of Wufeng? Yeah. In our textbook at our primary schools, I don't know whether that happened to your generation. We all heard about Wufeng's, or we all study about Wufeng's myth. Wufeng is Han's officials, and he's dealing with Zhou people in Alishan areas. But he was killed by the Zhou people, because Zhou at that time, they claim they had headhunting activities. So Wufeng, he was really nice to the Zhou people. One day he liked to teach the Zhou people. They like to teach the Zhou people headhunting is wrong. So he pretends that there was somebody appeared at some area, at some spot, and then you can kill him for your headhunting activities. And that was Wufeng. So this is a story we all told from our childhood. Wufeng is something, hero. And indigenous people have one bad costume. That's headhunting. So then I check with my Zhou friends. Say, do you know Wufeng? In your history, have you heard of Wufeng? Do you have headhunting activities? And then they said they did have headhunting activity, but that's during their fights with Bunongzu, during their fights with their neighbors, fighting for the hunting areas or hunting resources. So they do have headhunting. So that means in the fighting, like a war. But Wufeng, they have no idea about Wufeng. They're only in the records, in the history. And I check up the official documents. Wufeng was really at that time was really official, but doesn't mean that in all the documents there's no evidence or no descriptions about Wufeng save Zhou people. All that kind of stories. There's nothing about that. Nothing about that. Okay, so Zhou people think that they don't like that story. They need to be abolished. So, and now that's why you, at your primary schools, you don't read Wu Feng's story. Yeah. So and then there's a beautiful islands called Lanyu, 在兰屿 Orchid Islands. Have you heard of Orchid Islands? Orchid Islands is a islands isolated from Taiwan. It's another isolated islands. And so in old days, in not really that old, they put all the nuclear waste in the islands. The islands. Okay. And also there are some other political movements. They fight for their land rights for the indigenous people. And this is how 14 tribes, that just reminds you again where they locate. Okay? And this is a population of all the 14 people so far. And you can, this is the total, and this is a male one, and this is the female one. And actually, we can see there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tribes, their population are over 10,000 people. 10,000 people, 10,000. So they are all very tiny tribes. Yeah. And you can see the language after that one. The language, the local indigenous language, they are actually risk of diminishing. It probably is dying. Just in the next generation, it probably will be dead. So that's something serious that we need to think about that. Okay, and then and later the following slides I will show you about something about the 14 tribes. I will talk about especially about the cultural festivals because I think if there are so many cultural festivals of the indigenous people in Taiwan around the whole year, and if you can go to any one of those, and then you can start to enjoy and to think about to know about that one tribes, and then you will get more and more knowledge and get more interest about their status in the Taiwanese society. So Beinan is a tribe, which at the moment probably will be very popular in the pop culture sites. Why? Because Ame is Beinan Zhu, and Ji Xiaojun. These are all pop singers, and they all pay their respect to their grandparents' generation. They still call Lu Shenbao their grandparents, even though they have no real blood relations to Lu Shenbao. But Lu Shenbao, if you go to Taiwan Beinan, Lu Shenbao is like their god. It's like their gods, Lu Shenbao. And they're very important. Lu Shenbao is dead now. So why they got so many good singers. And the another one, they will be held every 2 years, once every 2 years. And probably the biggest one in Taiwan about their New Year's ceremony. 联合年祭, and the coming ceremony will held on the next year, February the 16th. So just the first day of the university starts. The university starts. I think that during that week, nobody will expect you to really appear at the class. So why not go there and you do? They don't. Now these days they have this ceremony once every 2 years, and they're really a significant one. They have a long tradition. Some cultural festival they are created just recent years. For some actually they are for economic purpose. So they are tourist one, but this one is kind of for of the traditional one, but they still welcome the tourists to go over and have enjoy that. So 联合季, this is the good one, and you can go there. And if you go there, it's very close. It's not really far from the Beinan site. So you can also go to that museum. And okay, and then I need to let you know that Adaya tribe. Adaya tribe is the biggest tribe in Taiwan. And Adaya, here, you can see the old girls, and here's a young one. Yeah, young one. And Adaya is believed to be the most prettiest girls in Taiwan. So 就最漂亮的and that becomes in old days there's some sad stories about these prettiest girls in Taiwan, because the prostitute, they will go mountains and then just do something bad and then bring them to the cities and cheat them, become a prostitute, just because they are too pretty. Yeah, and they're really cheated. They will really have been really cheated. Well, Adaya is still very strong and big. And then here, I want to show you Gaga. Can you see that? Gaga. The words Gaga. Gaga is Adaya's spirit, means spirit gods. So if you go to the Adaya tribes, and they will put Gaga. If you got sick today, and then you will say, I punished by my Gaga. Gaga punish me. If you did something good, Gaga is on your side. So Gaga becomes the tribal regulations. They regulate all the tribals' management, tribals' everyday activities. And Gaga is something that you can, if you are interested in Adaya, anything about Adaya tribes, you got to know Gaga. Got to know Gaga, how it works in the tribal society. Gaga, okay. And another thing about the Adaya is that about their tattoo, facial tattoo. For Adaya people, the facial tattoo only belongs to prejudiced. If you have some honorable things, you are allowed to have tattoo, and got to have a very serious ceremony to have tattoo on your face. And so tattoo. So here another tattoo. So this is, and also the Adaya, they have very good weaving techniques, weaving skills. Adaya. So if you go to Adaya tribes, you probably will be fascinated about all their weaving materials, and then like to take photos of all the, put their weaving clothes, the traditional weaving clothes on, and then took photos. That's what tourists normally do. Yeah. Okay, 塞夏. And 塞夏is very famous for their pastaya. In Chinese, we call it 塞夏族矮灵祭. Yeah, pastaya. And this is a very famous cultural. Now it's cultural festivals, and you can go there and just put this pastaya, and then you will find how to get to there. Okay, this is Saisha. This is not a very big tribes in Taiwan, but because of the pastaya, it's been recorded for 100 years, even in Japanese time, and even in Han period. Yeah, so pastaya becomes historical events for not only Saisha but also for Taiwanese people. Okay, now we go to Bunong. Bunong is in the central parts. Bunong has a far, next to Bunong is a tribe called Zhou and Bunong. And Bunong is a very strong tribe. You can see they're very good at hunting, and also very good at ear hunting. 射耳技，耳朵 ear hunting, yeah. 布农族 ear hunting. So always have fights with Bunong, but they also get mixed marriage with Bunong. Marry Bunong people. Bunong will marry Zhou because they are so close. But they have, they keep always fighting with each other. So there are some, true story, not story that happened. Because for the family, they marry Bunong. They got Bunong and Zhou. Fight, not fighting. You always have oral quarrel with your wife or your husband. And then at that time, the grandparents will say, "I told you not to marry Bunong." I told you not to marry a Bunong. But if they, just from the same tribe, like for example, like Zhou marry a Zhou, the parents will tell you, "Oh, that's so normal, 夫妻吵架, wife and husband, they have quarrel, that's so normal." But if they have got mixed marriage, they'll say, "I told you not to marry a Zhou." "Oh, I told you not to marry a Zhou. He will kill you." Yeah, that's something really interesting. They like brothers and sisters. Yeah, keep fighting all the time, but they still love each other. And Bunong is something that another thing that you got to know is that Bunong is very famous for their called 八部合音. 八部合音belongs to Bunong. How you got to know, doesn't belong to Ataya or some other. Okay, we have so many tribes, so you got to, some is a kind of challenge. You got to put the right connections among these culture activities and the tribes. And 八部合音 is called 八部合音. Literally means 8 parts harmony. It's a chorus of 8 chromatic alteration song in prayer for when there's a bountiful millet harvest, 丰年祭 harvest. And for tribal Taiwanese indigenous people, they always they used to harvest for millet, 小米. So there's some wine called 小米酒, millet wine. Yeah. So I prepare 八部合音. And then okay, we go. Better probably we need to go quickly. This is Zhou. And if you go to the Zhou tribes, you can see the Zhou and the Bunong in the land areas. They're really close to each other. And Zhou is in Jiayi. It's located in Jiayi, Kaohsiung, Nantou. And but Zhou is something that you need to know Zhou is about Kupa. Kupa is called, actually Kupa is literally means man's house. Only man can get into the Kupa. And the woman must keep away from Kupa. And Kupa is the educational institutions in their traditional terms for teaching their offsprings, their young men, how to become like a Zhou man. And this is Kupa. So if you go to the Zhou tribal areas, and you will see a lot of Kupas, and in every tribal areas, in those tribal communities. But also you can see a sign: women are not allowed to get in, And I have been criticized by this for my Zhou friends. They say, how do you think about modern times that women are still not allowed to get into the Kupa? They say, I know that's very ambiguous, because we need to talk about the women's rights to get into, we need to be modernized, or we need to be more democratic about the equal rights about men and women. But at this time, because they say the Zhou traditional value and beliefs in the Taiwanese society are not that significant. Or they want to restore, they want to maintain the status of that. So they say that's why they told me that for the time being, women's rights probably put behind. We'll later talk about that. So this is Cuba. And they also have cultural festivals, a famous one, Maya Suvi and the Mifona. Maya Suvi. That is this war ritual. They're also held in February, and it's good place, good opportunity, good events to visit. Yeah. So and Maya Suvi is called Life Being Richer in October. But this one is recently created. Nobody knows whether in old days they're really a Mifona festival. So this one is actually for economic purpose, for the tribal community economic purpose. They don't really like, for the Zhou people, they don't really like this kind of festivals. They don't really like because it's created and got a lot of fake stories or discourse being put just for the purpose of to get more tourist attractions. So, and okay, let's go to Lukai. Lukai is further down, a little bit further down, and Lukai is very unique in lily flowers. Lily flowers in Lukai tribes is a symbol for some honorable events. So if you have become a very good hunter, then you are allowed to put some lily on your head. Head ornaments, so lily flowers. So you are not allowed to put lily if you have nothing important to you. You will be banned. And this is, and then Taiwan Zoo. Actually, you can see the photo here, and I think this got some flash, so you can kind of see they got a very fair skin. But actually, Lukai or Taiwan Zoo, they got dark skin. So they there's one joke say Taiwan Zoo, they are very they because they are too dark. So in the daytime. In the daytime, you'll think that's in the night times because they got really dark skin. Yeah, they joke about the Taiwan Zoo's dark people. They say in the daytime you need to put the lights on because you are too dark, and if you want to see each other's face, you need to turn on the lights. So that's Taiwan Zoo. Yeah. And Taiwan Zoo is also very famous about their colorful glass beads. And this is in 海角七号，有没有？海角七号，勇士之珠，对 ，yeah, it's actually from Taiwan Zoo's tradition, yeah. So, and also they have very good at pottery, and there's one artist I need to let you know. That's Sakulu, because we always call him Sakulu, and he's a very important and very prestigious artist. He's not only making potteries, but he's also a painter, and his works has been treasures from overseas museums. So, and Sakulu, is somebody that everybody needs to know. And another guy in the pop culture nowadays we know him as 山猪飞鼠萨科努 Sakinu's book. And Sakinu's book, he's very good at black humor. So in that book, he tell you using a very humorous way to talk about Taiwan Zoo's traditional value. So if you're interested, you can go to read a book, or there's actually a movie. This is Taiwan Zoo said. He said because of their dark skin, in the afternoon, 3:30, they need to put the lights on. And because they are dark, so when they meet the Taiwanese black bear, they don't need to be scared because they are similar to each other. There's black humor. The other one, I think, because of time, there are small tribes but there's something that I need to let you know is about the Jack Ballet and Wei Desen's next movie, which is actually shooting at the moment, and so it's going to be a very fantastic one. So just let you know, let you see a bit about when I'm expecting this movie to come up, and next lecture is Mona, our real Mona to talk to you. But before Mona comes, and I will also show you some useful resources, some useful website resources. You can go there and you can dig a bit further, and then they give you a lot of stories and a lot of information about indigenous people. And another also in national at this campus, there's the Taiwanese Indigenous People Resources Center, which is just behind the library, not behind the library, or belongs to the library. I'm not too sure, because whenever you get into there, you feel you got a very different feelings about that library. And it's located. I'm not too sure that's close. Belongs to National NTU Library, or it kind of separate. I'm not too sure, but it's got a lot of information, and and it's within the campus. So do go there and find something more. And there are also some other for pop culture things about the indigenous people. So there. Okay. So I think I've just give you a very brief introduction about the Taiwanese indigenous people, and later Awi is going to talk about some more serious things. And then if you have questions, you are welcome to discuss that with Awi, because Awi is a lawyer, and he's a real indigenous lawyer, and he can speak for their tribes, for their people, and it's a good opportunity that you can really see Mona's offspring. And after we're going to have a break, and about 10 minutes later, I will take part in the second half of the class. So thank you for coming. Not for coming. Okay, and let's have a break for the time being, in 10 minutes. Okay.